Welcome back to Just Talking. We have a great guest on the show today, and that's Samantha Jacquest, the owner of Blue House Books in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Samantha, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yes, of course. Thanks for having me.
All right, for those who don't know what Blue House Books is, what is Blue House Books?
Yeah, so we are Kenosha's only full service independent bookstore. So basically, that means we serve all interests, all ages. We have a little something for everyone.
Well, let's hear it. How did this all get started?
Yeah, so honestly, it started with me just not being able to find a job in the book or publishing industry. I have my master's degree in book publishing, but yeah, really I just could not find a job. So I started doing pop-ups just as a way to stay in the industry while I was job hunting. But then I realized that the customer aspect of it and the actual spending time with books and everything was what I really loved about the book world. So from there, I just slowly grew it into a full brick and mortar bookstore downtown.
Which I believe, where was your first location? Because I think it's not where you are now, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So we were originally on, oh gosh, 57th Street and 7th Ave, I believe. It's where Black Coffee is now, the coffee shop downtown. So that is where we used to be, and it was teeny tiny. We used to laugh because on busy days, you just had to stand in the checkout line in order to browse the store and just move with the line because there was just no room in there. So we were only there for like a year and then just knew that we needed more space very quickly. So yeah, we moved after only a year. And then in September of 2021 opened in the location we are today.
So why did you choose downtown Kenosha? You could have picked anywhere you wanted. You chose downtown. Why?
Yeah, so I grew up in Kenosha. My family moved here when I was 6. I did all my schooling here except for college. And so I did love this town, and I especially love that I was seeing some big changes happening after I moved back from grad school. So when I came back as an adult, I just loved seeing, improvements happening in the downtown. But there still wasn't a bookstore, and bookstores are such cultural important hubs of these downtown communities. So once I kind of started as the pop up and started experimenting a bit, I realized that Kenosha was responding so well to the idea of a bookstore. So it really gave me the confidence. Bookstores don't work everywhere, unfortunately. And I'm just very lucky that Kenosha responded to an independent bookstore very well. And that's why we're here.
I do love the name, Blue House Books. Where did that come from?
Yeah, so when I was first starting the business, I was trying to think, the name is so important. I want to make sure it represents the correct vibe that I want. And so, I was thinking, like, what vibe do I want? And I just knew I wanted somewhere that, everyone felt comfortable, everyone felt welcome. You could find yourself represented somewhere along the shelves. And so I kind of thought, where am I happiest? Where am I comfortable? Where do I feel at home? And so for me, it's my parents' house. So my parents' house is the Blue House. My nephew, who is now 22, when he was a baby, he would call it his blue house, which is funny because it's actually not blue anymore. They got the siding redone and it's gray, but in my heart, it'll always be the blue house. But yeah, it's where, family came for parties. It's where the neighborhood kids hung out. And it was just a home where everyone felt welcome. And so my store is named after my childhood home.
And I'm still going to keep bringing up this phenomenon because anywhere you go in town, they'll say Blue House Books. And I know you've not worked with a lot of organizations too. I'll bring up Kenosha Creative Space, Literacy
Mhm.
Council for sure. Was that kind of part of the mission behind your thinking, saying, you know what, we got to sort of expand and talk to other organizations?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, why would my community want to support me if I don't support my community? And I've just always been the type of person where, I want to help whenever I can. If I can do something for others, I want to. And for us it's not always just giving an organization money because not gonna lie, we're not making millions here at an independent bookstore. So for us, contributing back is hosting fundraisers, donating when we can, donating items to raffles, putting up posters, having events here that support other organizations or support literacy. So definitely, I mean, a big part of it is that, yeah, we want our community to support us, so we're going to support our community. And it's also just, me and my entire staff, we're all very community oriented people. We don't thrive unless Kenosha thrives. So we've just kind of always had that at the forefront of our thinking.
And not only Kenosha, the outlining areas, because I went to cover an event in Waukegan, and the
Mhm.
first thing that came out of their mouth was that, oh, Blue House Books is coming here later too. I was like,
Oh,
amazing. And then I seen your social media where you posted even down to Chicago. So it's like
mm.
you're not only promoting Blue House Books, but also Kenosha so that they come in our area. So that's why I really commend you on that as well. Um, before we talk about the big event that's coming up, though, that you also do uh, other smaller events here in the area
Mhm.
as well. It's not just the bookstore, but you have events at the store. Is that correct?
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. So we have a couple different book clubs. We host children's story time a couple times a month. Of course, author events, and sometimes those are at the store. Sometimes those are off-site because we just need a bigger space. We also do quite a few collaborations with other local businesses. So, for example, in the past with Equinox, our neighbors on 6th Avenue A here, we did a new plant parent workshop where folks were able to purchase a plant and learn how to take care of it properly. We've done an essential oil workshop with Modern Apothecary, where folks were able to take home a couple items that they actually made that night. And then, yeah, we also do like fundraising type events. So, for example, coming up soon, right before the Lit Fair, we actually have what we call Browse and Sip. So it's a book and wine pairing event where we match the vibes of wines with the vibes of books. And we're collaborating with the Buzz to help select the wines, and it's to benefit Kenosha Literacy Council. So, of course, we always try to make things bookish. Like if something is not a book, a book specific event, we might try to match in a book with it because there's a book for everything. But really, we're not limited to only doing book events. We do all kinds of stuff, which makes it super fun.
In fact, I saw something called a blind date with a book or something. What's that?
Yeah, that's a really fun thing we do a couple times a year. I actually have an example right here I can show you.
Okay.
So we wrap up a book and you obviously don't know what it is. We just type out kind of like a vague description, some little plot highlights, but then you just take a chance and you get a mystery book. And this is super fun. We put this out a couple times a year and it really helps with, diversifying what you're reading. You might be drawn to something based on the description that you never would have normally picked up, maybe because of the cover or something, or because it wasn't shelved where you would normally shop. And so that's a really fun one that, yeah, it helps people branch out of their normal comfort zone when browsing for books.
So this is all leading up to the Kenosha Southport Literary Fair. Let's hear
Mhm.
all about it.
Yes, so that is super fun. So I wanted to do this for a while where we, planned an author with multiple events. And then actually someone from the library came to me that they wanted to do something similar and they were asking for my advice. So I said, well, obviously we need to just combine efforts and do this together. So last year was the inaugural year and it was a huge success. So this year we're just kind of replicating some of those successes and adding a few new things. So some new things you'll see this year is that we've added quite a few other vendors. So the lettering machine will be there doing an apparel bar. So it'll be like a print on demand, like they're making bookish themed shirts, sweatshirts, stuff like that. And they'll make it right there in front of you. So that's super fun. We're going to have a caricature artist, Josie Rodriguez, who's a local artist, will be doing that. And we are going to be having some folks from the Tolkien Society, the Wisconsin Tolkien Society, kind of showing off some things that they have, and we'll be selling some Tolkien books because, of course, there will always be a huge Tolkien fan base. But then, of course, what everyone's coming for is the authors. So we have more than 25 authors coming. I think my last count was 27 or 28 authors that are coming for this event. And what's going to happen basically is throughout the day, they're all going to be stationed in one big area where folks can just come up and chat and have books signed and learned about those authors' books. But then also, we'll have panel discussions happening. So the library has a couple activity rooms where we will be talking about a range of things. So there's going to be a discussion about romance books, a discussion about spooky books. There's going to be great discussions for like parents and kids about the benefits of reading and graphic novels, things like that. So it's a really great range of topics. And then the library is also planning some amazing activities. So I know there's like an origami session, there's going to be like a make your own graphic novel session, and those are for all ages. So anyone can participate in really anything all day. So yeah, it's just a big free day for book lovers.
When's the day and time for that?
That one is October 5th, which is a Saturday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Southwest Library.
With those close to 30 authors coming, it's like maybe with your background in the publishing world, do you reach out to them? How were you able to get as many as you did?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's a challenge. I actually was still booking authors only like 2 weeks ago. So, how it works basically is there's a couple different ways to go about it. So, first off, the publishers will put out what authors are touring for new book releases. And that's always when it's most exciting to catch authors because they're touring to promote their new books. Folks are really excited to get their hands on these new books, whether they know the author or not. So I kind of put in some proposals that way. But then the other side of it too is me just tracking down folks' emails and saying, hey, this is a great event. Kenosha is a great community. Do you want to join us? So we do have a couple authors that have been here before, but our community just loves. So a couple of those include Annalise Ryan, who has written A Death in Door County, which is really popular. Greta Kelly, who is actually a very local author. She lives right here in southeastern Wisconsin. But then some folks are completely new. And I will say the probably biggest draw to this year's fair is Bryn Weaver. So she wrote, and actually I have a copy right here. This is her big book, Butcher and Blackbird, which is an adult, I guess you could call it like a horror romance. It's about basically two serial killers who fall in love. And it does have quite a bit of adult content. So I just want to put that out there. But she has developed just such a crazy huge following, and I'm just so shocked that we were able to book her for this event. And I will actually say too that that is the one portion that is ticketed for the day. Her team was just a little concerned about her popularity and being able to control how many people, came to have a book signed by her. So the only cost is the purchase of one of her books, or you could also pre-order her upcoming book. So that's all it costs is just the purchase of one of her books, and then you can get in that signing line. But otherwise, the rest of the day is free, and yeah, we really have some really popular authors coming.
Could you give us a couple of titles for the panel discussions they'll be discussing?
Oh,
Like,
sure. Yeah. So I know one of them is traveling through time and place instead of time and space, because it'll actually be talking about historical fiction novels. And all of the novels take place in different times and different parts of the world. And it'll also be talking about how, even though these are fictional stories, they're based off real events. And so you can actually learn a ton from these fictional novels, which I think is fantastic. And then the one that I think will probably be the most popular is 10 Things I Love About Love. And that's our panel topic for the romance authors. Romance books have just boomed and gone crazy in the last couple of years. And things like Book Talk and Bookstagram, the little subsets of social media has really made these books flourish and helped with recommending and things like that. So that'll be a fun one. And then there is, I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but we're going to have kind of a three-part series where it's going to start with one of the Kenosha Public Library librarians interviewing a couple middle grade authors about the benefits of graphic novels and novels with illustrations for that age group. And then it's going to go into a workshop with local author Donovan Schurer, who's going to help you actually illustrate a character, and then you'll get to actually create a graphic novel with that character. So that's like a really fun series that really anyone for any age can participate. But I think it'll be particularly great for middle grade students and parents of middle grade students to really see the benefits of those books. So those are just a couple, but of course, the full lineup is available on ours or the library's website.
I was one question that's in back of my mind is, since you have run a successful bookstore, you've got background publishing, have you ever written a book?
Oh my gosh, no. One day I think I will. There's been this kind of, demand, I almost want to say, or popularity of books from people in the publishing industry or who run bookstores. People just have this really romantic idea of what it's like to run a bookstore or be in the publishing industry. And it's an amazing experience. I love my job so much, but it's not as romantic as people think. So people are having so much fun seeing like the inside scoop of what the book world is like. So I think one day I definitely could, or maybe even write fiction, but the character maybe is a bookstore owner. I think it's definitely possible in the future. I mean my love for books, really also fostered a love for writing. I've just been so busy the last few years. I haven't really been able to focus on that too much, but I think maybe in another year or two when the bookstore is really running really well on its own and has a great staff, maybe I can take a little time for that. So, you never know.
Well, when it hits the sands, I'm gonna be the first one to pick it up. That's for sure. My God.
Perfect.
Congratulations on 4-year anniversary of the
Thank
store. And
you.
then that's my next question. I want to hear from you. What has been the success to make it through those 4 years?
Oh my gosh, I ask myself this question so regularly, and I talk to my staff about it. And Casey, the store manager here, that is a great question. We're trying to figure it out ourselves. I think it's a couple things. I think it's that people really love us, like my staff. We're all so friendly. We're all like on our own, decently well known in the community, either just by being, supporting local businesses, having other jobs in the community, things like that. People have just really gotten to know us. I have quite a few friends that I've made that are now friends outside of the store. And, people recognize me when I'm out and about and they're just like, hey, it's the book lady. And I love that. So I really think it's that people really respond well to us and how much it's obvious that we love our job, we love books, and we love to talk about books. So I think that's a big part of it. Another thing, like I mentioned, is just the fact that Kenosha was so ready for this. I think Kenosha has a great diverse population of folks who like all different kinds of books. We have a lot of, people who come to town for school or for work and stay here or at least stay close by. And these are people who are able to support an independent bookstore. And then I think the events that we do have a big part of it. We actually track our events and we see, how many people attend, how many books we sell. And I don't think we would be able to, do as many exciting things if we didn't have those events bringing in those people and bringing in extra income because, people might come for an author, but then they get to know us. Or, we might have a slow week, but then we have an event and that boosts us, So having the events is definitely a big, big part of what gets folks in and has them coming back. So, yeah, those are just a few of the top things that I think have made us really successful.
Sounds good. Well, we want people to go visit Blue House Books, the
Mhm.
address.
Oh, yeah. So we are 5915 6th Avenue A in downtown Kenosha. So that A on 6th Avenue kind of confuses people a little bit because there's 6th Ave on the backside and we're 6th Avenue A. So I always just tell folks look for Equinox and Passetti's are two of like the kind of staples near us. We're right by Simmons Library and right across from St. Matthew's, a big, beautiful church. So it's really easy to find us right downtown, right on kind of our main street.
Website, social media.
Yeah, so our website is shop@bhb.com. And pretty much just if you search Blue House Books in any, search engines or social media, you will find us no problem.
Okay, and then again, Saturday, October 5th, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Kenosha Public Library Southwest, Kenosha Southport Literary Fair. It's going to be a great event, great attended event. Samantha, I want to thank you so much for talking with us today. Visit Blue House Books, so thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thank you so much, Jason. It's been a pleasure.